video is just going to be me grunting a lot. Isn't that a coincidence? Huh, that's crazy. I hate to cut up a perfectly nice high dollar piece. You don't want an unhappy brake. Ooh. What's so funny? Oh, goodness. Welcome back to the Hot Rod Hoarder YouTube channel. And this time we're focusing on the brakes. And that's going to be a big job. This thing had essentially no brakes on the front. It had drum brakes on the back attached to a 12-bolt rear end. And we are getting rid of all of that. You'll see what we did. It's a lot of work, but that's all part of putting this thing back on the road. So appreciate all the support, appreciate the views. Let's get into action. All right, guys, it's time to address the brakes on this thing. And I've been putting it off because it's a lot of work, to be perfectly honest with you. This thing, to just back up, this car's got a 41 Willys axle. And Willys originally had 4-lug wheels. So back in the day, in the 60s when this car was built, instead of running the Willys spindles, they switched over to a Henry J spindle. That gave them a 5-lug hub. Well, that's what this drum brake came off of, is a Henry J. Well, there's not a whole lot of parts available for a Henry J drum brake. And when I pulled the drum off of this thing, it was just like this. It was empty. So rather than piecing everything together with original Henry J parts and still having a subpar braking system, I decided to discard this completely, and we're going to put together a disc brake system for this car. And I'm doing it probably the hardest way possible by ordering a kit that's made for a completely different car, but we're going to make it work for this. So basically, we're going to take this apart. We're going to be down to our bare spindle here, and then build out from there using the parts in this Wilwood kit. Now, the Wilwood kit is for a Rambler. American Motors, they had a very similar bolt pattern to this 4-bolt pattern here, and that's kind of the basis for this whole thing. The bolt pattern's similar, and the wheel bearing sizes, the outer and inner bearing sizes are the same, and the depth of the bearings is the same. So the hub will fit right on here, and the caliper bracket supplied with the kit, it's going to require some serious modifications. All the way around, it's a better situation to have the Wilwood disc brakes. So let's get started taking it apart. All right, now this backing plate can come off, and I'm just going to leave it hanging. Not going to hurt anything. I'll address the brake lines later. All right, let's get the boxes open here. Got plenty of stickers. So in my measuring, the inner bearing and the outer bearing is correct. On these, really nice. Like, this is so nice. It's too nice for this car. I know that much. But the wheel bearings that come with these are the same measurements as the Henry J spindle. That's super handy. The depth is the same as well. That's just another factor that was really tough when it came to finding junkyard parts. I'm going to slide that up on there. Make sure that this is the right size. Outer bearing, that slides up there, and that's a real good fit right there. So depth is good. The diameters of the bearings are perfect. I can't complain about that fitment. That was super easy. This is the Wilwood caliper bracket, and this is a really, really nice machined aluminum bracket. And what it's supposed to do on the Rambler is it's supposed to bolt to this, just like that. And then on the Rambler, the spindle is actually a 2-piece. So it has the upright, just like this. Then it has the spindle part that bolts onto the upright. So this is actually a 1-piece casting or forging. I think these are forged. So on the Rambler, you would bolt it up like this, and then bolt your spindle, the outward part of the spindle, to this. Very simple. Well, we don't have that ability here, so this bracket's got to go onto the back side of this spindle. Obviously, it can't do that. It's got a closed loop. It can't fit there. So what we have to do is trim this. We've got to cut this out, and then we've got to cut up into here so that it fits over this upper part of the spindle. So we'll make those cuts with the cutoff wheel and then dress it up a little bit with the grinder, make sure it's going to fit, and then we'll have to dress up the back side of the spindle. It needs a little bit of grinding back here so that this perfectly flat machine surface rests perfectly flat against the spindle. That helps us with aligning, so we don't have to run a bunch of spacers or washers or anything. This can just bolt flat up to the back of this. So a lot of work tied up in this right here, and I hate to cut up a perfectly nice high dollar piece, but that's what it's going to take to put disc brakes on this thing. So on the back side of this spindle, you can see where there's these little flat places that are just basically made for washers. And what we're going to have to do for proper fitment is take our flap disc on the electric grinder, and we're going to grind this sort of rounded area off to where it's flat. We're not going to take a tremendous amount of material off there, maybe I don't know, that's probably a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. But essentially we're going to grind this flat so that our bracket, see, it's now cut, so it'll fit right over where I want it to be. But see how it doesn't fit up flush? That's because of those raised up areas. We're going to grind that flat, and then this will sit flush. We can bolt it right up. Obviously, after I dress some of my wounds and stuff on this, we should be able to just slap it right on there, bolt it in. Basic mock-up's done. I still got some dressing to do on this caliper bracket, but I've got it bolted on with my new hardware, and now I can build this out. I can put the rotor together and then get my caliper spacing where it needs to be. We'll have to do a little bit of grinding on the caliper to make that work, but this is a big step. There's a lot of grinding, a lot of cutting, but I'm pretty happy with that. I've already assembled this loosely. It's just hanging together. But this is the offset that is correct for me. At least it was correct for the other side. Slide this on there. That. Now it rolls around just fine. No clearance issues anywhere. All right, there's our caliper. Nice, new, fresh out of the box. And it will physically fit onto this, but it's not fitting correctly. So these little things help us to line up the rotor with the caliper so that we have the right spacing. And right now we're hitting, so we need to take a little material off here and here. We take it off the back side just like that with the flat disc on the grinder. That works best. And take a little bit at a time, fit it, take a little more, fit it, take a little bit more, fit it, and so on until we have it centered just right. And where this will bolt on like that, but with no clearance issues. Right now, this rotor will not turn, so we obviously need to fix that. All right, we've been grinding a lot, taking several thousandths off there and several thousandths off there. You know, somebody fancy probably would have, well, somebody fancy wouldn't have been grinding on the caliper anyways. I was gonna say somebody fancy might have machined it instead of just using a grinder by hand, but hey, this works, I think. Should work, right? But you can see I'm pretty close there. Pretty close. You can see the distance there and the distance there. I mean, that's close enough, right? So there we go. Fully mocked up Wilwood disc brakes. Pretty happy with the fitment. And now I just need to take it back apart, dress up some of my grinding. So this is the finished product. I kind of had to flip and flop and do all that to make the spacing work out right. So what we're looking at is this needs to be like this. This needs to be like this. That. And then this goes like that. Okay. I'm gonna start with these.
There you go. There's your instructions.
Mm-hmm. And put a little dab of juice on there.
Now, why is it red?
It's just is. Why is the sky blue? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean,
they have different colors. They have blue. Red is the ultimate, like you put red if you never want to take it apart again. And I don't ever want to take it apart again.
Are we sure this is the right way?
I sure hope so.
If it's wrong,
If it's not, we're in trouble.
extreme trouble.
I don't know the science behind it.
It's not as.
Oh, gross.
Ew. Why did you do that?
We're getting down to the end of the tube, I guess. It's getting a little squirty, sort of like ketchup. I'll hold the rotor. We're going to have to tighten these again with the torque wrench, so just get them snugged up. That's good.
No, this one?
Mm-hmm. Yep, do them all. Good job.
Did them all?
One more, I think. I think that one's still loose. You got them all snugged. All right, this probably isn't the official way to tighten these things, but I can't figure out any other way to have enough pressure on this to keep it from turning. These bolts torque to 25 foot-pounds, luckily. So, hey, now, don't break. Did you break? Try another one. Let's just see if the other one's better. Okay, there's 25. Let's see what happened here. Okay, the torque is toast. I heard it click. It's good enough, right?
Oh, yeah.
Probably this label probably says, do not cut this.
Probably.
Okay, the coolest part about these Wilwood hubs is that it's dual drilled and tapped for 2 different bolt patterns. So that means if I wanted to take this thing apart and switch bolt patterns to a Ford pattern, I could. Probably not going to do that, but it is handy that I have the availability to do it. So I'm running a Chevrolet pattern, which is this slightly larger pattern. Put these things in there. The kit comes with these studs. So super handy. These thread in. We torque them to 77 foot-pounds, which is hard to do when this thing is so light and nimble. You kind of have to clamp it down in a vise very carefully. I have the hub in the vise. I used a little piece of like a big washer to keep it from scarring up this beautiful machined aluminum. It still makes a little mark on it. There's nothing I can do about that. But there's also no way that you can hold this still to be able to torque it to 77 foot-pounds. This would also be more helpful if my vise was mounted to something, but it's not. So I just have to stand on it.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. 77 is a lot. Got it.
Seems like that went better than the other one went.
It's just my bones popping. Ah. It's a lot.
Good job, Dad.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
This video is just going to be me grunting a lot.
Yep.
And breathing. Got it.
You're doing it on purpose now.
No, I'm not.
You are.
You don't know what it's like to be old and tired.
Old? Let's see the finished product.
No, I don't want to show it. It's got a big ugly scar on it.
Come back. I like how you're wearing your...
I know, isn't
today.
that a coincidence? Huh. That's crazy that it just happened to be in the box.
Yep.
And I put it on.
Let's look at that. Very nice.
Now, Wilwood probably wouldn't approve of how I'm doing this. Like all this flipping around and switching around and all the grinding, all the cutting. It's probably not how they want things to be done, because just judging by the quality of their products, they are very particular about things fitting perfectly, like this. That right there is a machined perfect finish and a perfect fit. And that's going to give me confidence when it's time to hit the brake pedal in this car. I want to be sure that all these parts are
Together.
fitting properly and happy,
They're happy?
torqued down to the proper specifications.
They have feelings?
Yeah, absolutely.
They do?
Yeah.
What are they feeling right now?
You don't want an unhappy brake.
You don't?
I've had an unhappy brake before.
These two look kind of sideways.
They are. I gotta do some adjusting.
Adjusting. You better do it before it like dries or something. I don't know.
Hey. Okay.
More
Did that work? Hey, it worked. All right, here's a trick. I decided, instead of fighting this thing to torque these bolts down, that I would just get a tire and wheel. That way it's kind of locked in. That the weight of the tire and wheel keeps it from sliding around on me. All right, I had to consult with the instructions. These torque to 45 foot-pounds, and this is a T45 Torx bit. These other ones that we torqued earlier to 25, those are a T40 Torx bit. Okay, that wasn't so bad.
But
Dunk.
Click. So good at this.
All right, we got our fresh wheel bearings. These came with the Wilwood kit. They fit the Henry J spindles perfectly. Obviously, they fit the hubs perfectly. It's made for them. And we're going to grease them up. That means that we're getting close here. We're like actually doing something for real. We're not just mocking up anymore. Alrighty. Very nice. This castle nut, it is new, but I don't know if the threads are boogered up on it or on the spindle, but it don't feel real great. But we're going to send it anyways.
It's fine.
See how it does. Castle nuts and spindle size should be the same for everything ever. Maybe I'm wrong. Alright, that was somewhat questionable, but we got the castle nut all the way up there, got it adjusted where we need it, got the grease cap on, we're ready to keep going with assembly. The next step is going to be these calipers, and they go right on to the mount. I had to remove quite a bit of material off of the caliper and the bracket, but everything lines up good. We got a good alignment on the rotor, so the pads should slide right in. We got these finger tight. Let's see if our pads slide in. This is another advantage of Wilwood Brakes, is that the pads just literally drop in. And this one should just drop in like that. And then they're held in place with a pin, which is here. I found it. And almost there. Come on. Got it. So there it is. Complete brake setup made out of an AMC kit from Wilwood, adapted to a Henry J spindle and a 41 Willys front axle. What we don't have figured out is the brake plumbing, the brake lines, flex hoses, the fittings, distribution blocks, all that kind of stuff. We have a starting point because the thing has brake lines already, but we're going to be changing some of that because it had a single pop master cylinder. Naturally, we're going to have a different brake line routing system with this dual master cylinder. So this is a GM style. I went ahead and got one that had a proportioning valve, or whatever you want to call that. This is a 1-inch bore, and it's 4 disc brakes front and back. I'm obviously not going to be using a booster on this. It has a very low mount right here behind Isaac's head that we're also going to be having to change because this is a vertical mount for race car stuff. And Wilwood makes a kit that converts that to standard horizontal mount like this. This Summit Racing line lock is going to allow us to lock the front brakes up for burnouts. And I also got an installation kit which came with some different pieces of brake lines, some different fittings. So the first thing we got to do is get these 2 bolts out, which they're in there really tight. I don't know if they have like a spot weld on the backside. I'll have to look, but I need to get these 2 things out. The Wilwood adapter kit comes with bolts, so we'll put that on there. They're countersunk so that this fits right up against it. You gotta do 2 hands. Go ahead and get up in there. That would help you. It's not gonna hurt you. Although, right there is really sharp, so don't touch that. All right, let her rip, Tater Chip. Watch out for that corner. That is sharp. Oh, is it tight? Keep on going there, buddy. You're doing good. Might need to get in there and help you. Oh, it is getting tight. Oh, goodness. Hey, you were right at the end. There you go. 2 hands, remember? 1 pushing in. There you go. There you go. Okay.
You got it?
Okay, buddy.
It's
Woo!
out.
We got it. Now we got to do another one. All right, it's Carly's turn. You watching out there?
I can kind of actually see through the hole.
Oh, yeah.
All of it is almost out.
Yeah? Good. She's almost done then. Careful.
Do you need any help, Kylie? I don't think you could help with this one. It's really tight.
Do you need my help?
Yeah, I might need your help. It's almost out.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, here's that adapter plate I was talking about from Wilwood. Notice how they made this out of aluminum and they countersunk the holes. And they use these bolts so that there's a flush surface. And that means that the new master cylinder will mount this way instead of this way. So these will go through here like so. And then we'll drill two new holes out here and put 2 new bolts to hold the master cylinder on. See how where I've got my finger on this bolt? There's another bolt down there. Can you pull those out a little bit, but don't pull them out all the way? Okay? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So pull them out just a little. Like that. Yeah. Now do the top one. Little bit more. Okay, right there. Now, let's see if we're lined up. Push it back through. Okay.
Push it all the way in.
Yeah, all the way in. Okay. All right, we're gonna have to do a little cutting in here, it looks like.
Hold on.
You got it where you need to be?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Good, and one on the top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's gonna get tighter. This is a locking nut, so it's supposed to get tight like this. You really don't want your brake pedal falling out.
No, you don't.
Okay. This bottom one, I'm going to have to just hold the wrench, and then you're going to have to ratchet.
Okay.
So.
If I can get it there. Okay. You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. Kind of overpowered me there.
Ooh.
Oh, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. If I can get it. How tight does it need to get?
Good and tight. That sounded like a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool. This kit for the conversion from vertical to horizontal master cylinder comes with a new push rod and clevis, and that's super handy. However, it's a little different size than this pedal. This is an old Neil racing pedal, and it's got a little tiny hole for the pin, and it's kind of narrow. So we're going to space it out with some washers, drill this hole out so we can put a properly sized pin through there, which will more than likely be a bolt with a lock washer. And that way this will be nice and secure, and we'll still have our vintage pedal. Holes are drilled, push rods in. Let's test fit this master cylinder. See how it fits. Oh, that's very tight. It's a tight machine finish on the adapter plate, which is a good thing. Okay, yeah, that bolt's not long enough, I don't think, to reach what we need to reach. All right.
Good job.
Hey, that worked out pretty good there.
Yeah.
What's so funny? Oh, goodness. All right, all right.
Charlie was in the way.
Oh. Okay. Let's get serious. Hey, it's serious. Serious time here. Okay. This old brake pedal assembly, which I thought was really handy and it was going to work well for us, it ended up being kind of a problem because this is for race car stuff and we're putting a regular passenger car master cylinder on it. And the reason that's a problem is a race car master cylinder has a captive or a captured push rod. These passenger car master cylinders do not. So the push rod can just flop out of there. And these pedals don't have any way to have a stop on them. So I rigged up this stop out of another brake pedal push rod clevis. I cut a little slot in it, as you'll see. I might need to zoom in a little bit so that people can see this. So I cut a little slot in it, and the brake pedal just rests on it. Now I've got a little piece of rubber that I can put in there if I want it to have a little softer touch. But right now, it's doing exactly what I want to do. It's held in place with the bolt that holds the pedal assembly in place. And now the push rod is in there securely. I still have some adjustment there if I need it. And I have full range of motion on the brake pedal. So that was a little bit of figuring to try to make this work. I probably could have put a whole nother pedal assembly in it for the amount of time it took me to figure this out. But it works. It has a good solid stop. And now we'll have safe braking without the chance of this push rod falling out and causing big problems. All right, so last night after everybody went to bed, I decided I was going to come back out here and do some quiet projects. Nothing, no drilling, no cutting. So what I did was bend up some brake lines. And I laid out sort of the routing for our line lock and just kind of have all this mocked up. I've got these are the flex hoses from Wilwood. These are just, everything's just finger tight right now because I'm just kind of mocking all this stuff up. So now it's the next day and I've been drilling some holes and I've figured out a way to mount the line lock. So this is the bracket that came with this master cylinder and combination valve. And now I've drilled holes and mounted it securely. And now this will slide back on the stud like so, and then we'll just run our bolts through there. These brake lines are all pretty much ready to start installing for the final time. We'll have to do a little more finesse as far as the bending and routing goes, but that's essentially what we're looking at. We got our front brake line, goes right in there. We've got another front brake line that comes out of here over to a distribution block on the side of the frame rail somewhere over there. It splits to this brake line, which goes to this front brake. I'm going to use a brake line that goes all the way over there. I'm going to try to make it not hideous. All right, it's time to get these brake lines finished up for good. And now that everything is mounted solid and not just in mock-up stage, I have to tweak the lines just a little bit. Yes?
Your head's dirty.
Oh, thanks. Giving me problems. There we go. We got it started. We got it started. Are you playing piano on my back?
No.
No? What are you doing then?
I don't know.
Piggyback ride while I'm tightening up brake lines?
I don't know. Daddy.
Buddy. What are you trying to do? I'm working here. I should be making you do this.
Bacon. I think I can't remember.
Okay, that's probably enough there. Now do the back one.
Is that enough for this one?
That's probably enough. Let's see, how much more we got? Oh, we got a little bit. So what we're doing here is bench bleeding the master cylinder, pretty important thing to do. These master cylinders usually bleed very easily. Sometimes you don't even have to do it.
Here.
This is what we just poured in there is going to be going through these tubes back into there. So Carly, get around this side so that you can zoom in and see what those bubbles are doing, because I'll need your help to know, if it's good or not. The important part of this is making sure that when you adjust your pedal push rod, that the master cylinder actually comes all the way back out. If it doesn't come all the way back out, it'll just push the fluid back and forth instead of what it's supposed to be doing.
I like the bubbles.
You like the bubbles?
Yeah.
Well, we want the bubbles to go away. Are they small bubbles now?
Yeah, they're smaller.
That's what we want to see right there. No bubbles passing through. Turns out we had a little leak on the fitting, and that was letting a little bit of air seep in and putting air back into the system. So now she's in there pumping, and we're just not really even seeing anything, and that's a good sign. Fluid's just moving easily. We're good to go. All right, it's time to make a brake line. I have made these others using various pieces that I had laying around, plus some a line lock installation kit that I got from Summit Racing. It had several sticks, but I didn't have anything long enough to do what I need to do now. So this is 6 feet long. The plan is to go from this distribution block under the frame rail up here to the crossbar, cross over there, and then it'll hook in with the flex line. So I got this bender. This is just a hand bender. I think I got it from Summit Racing years ago. And I need a good tight bend there. That's going to give us our starting point. So as we've talked about before, this car's got a 12-bolt rear end in it, and it's got drum brakes, and they're completely intact, and they look pretty good. Everything looks like it's in good working order, so we could probably just put wheel cylinders, shoes, and stuff like that. However, I want to make an upgrade on this car that is dual purpose. Obviously, I want it to have good brakes and safe brakes. Not that drum brakes are unsafe, but disc brakes are obviously better. So Wilwood makes a kit for a 12-bolt, and we're planning on putting a Wilwood disc brake kit on the back of this car. And the reason for that, I said dual purpose, the reason for it is good brakes, and because this thing is a 12-bolt, GM 10 bolts are the same way, they have a C-clip style rear end, and that's what holds the axles in place. That means if you break an axle, the axle can just come out of the car, and that means your tire and wheel and everything comes out of it. That's not a good situation. Now, obviously, wouldn't want to tear up this wheel well. I wouldn't want to wreck the car. There's a lot of reasons you don't want your tire and wheel coming off. So the second purpose of the disc brake is that it actually will retain the axle. So the disc brake rotor slides over here, and then your caliper goes over that, and that actually holds your axle in the case of an axle breakage. So that's the plan. We're putting Wilwood disc brakes on here, but we do have to disassemble this and make some measurements to see what our axle offset is. That's the measurement from here to the axle or the housing flange back here. So we got to disassemble this, and then we'll start measuring. Okay. And yes, they make tools for this, but these Knipex pliers typically do a pretty good job of grabbing. You ever get busy doing something and you just forget about breathing? And then all of a sudden you're out of breath for no reason? Is that just me?
Yeah, I guess so. Not me.
Okay, well, it's good to know. Just peel these off, like so. Okay, we got Allen head bolts on the wheel cylinders. That's a first. That's like maybe the only car in America with Allen head bolts. Got it. You need your creeper.
My creeper?
Yes, the thing you're sitting on is
That's a creeper?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
How did you not know this?
I don't know. I thought it was called a rolly thing. I honestly thought it was called a rolly thing.
Okay.
Here we go.
Under the car.
Under the car.
I've already got a little start here. I've got this bolt loose. We'll show you here how this goes together and how it comes apart on a, this is a C-clip style rear end. This is a 12 bolt out of a 66 or 67 Nova. Super rare. These only came in like the L79 cars. This would be a very desirable rear end for somebody if it didn't have all these hundreds of brackets welded to it. But it's going to be just fine for us. The axles push against this bar that goes through there so that there's not a lot of slack. But when you take that bar out, you can push the axle in and get the C-clip out. That's what we got to do, because we got to remove the axle in order to install this brake kit. So there's that C-clip. See how it gets its name? C for Carly. So before I started actually doing any of the actual brake stuff, I ran some brake lines. So this car had brake lines, but they're old. So I put some new brake lines on there. And the way this Wilwood system works, it uses two flexible lines that go to the caliper, whereas a regular GM style rubber flex hose is just one hose that splits to a hard line that runs across the housing. On this setup, we're running our hard lines across the cross member on the frame and over to the other side, and basically mimicking this design. So this will go to the caliper, gives us plenty of room for up and down travel. So I've already got that kind of mocked up. Nothing's really tightened down yet. I'll wait for that until we get everything bolted on. But now we can pull this axle out because we've removed the C-clip. Okay, so theoretically, this new Wilwood kit will bolt to this flange and everything else will go together just naturally. There's not going to be a lot of cutting and grinding and welding and fabrication and frustration, none of that. So let's see how that works out. All right, so this is the Wilwood 12 bolt disc brake kit, and they make them for different offsets because different 12 bolt rear ends have different axle offsets. So we had to measure and see what our offset was. And I would imagine that that determines how deep this hat is on this rotor. So this kit comes with an internal parking brake. It's kind of like a little drum brake assembly that fits inside the hat of the rotor. And that is super cool, but I don't ever foresee us having a parking brake on this car. So I'm going to remove all this. I don't know. I just feel like that would simplify our installation. And if I'm not ever going to use it anyways, just get rid of it. Now, I could have gotten a drag race kit. Wilwood makes plenty of drag race components. But since I do plan to drive this car on the street some, it's a good idea to have this street kit because you got a nice street-friendly rotor. And, of course, their famous calipers that are just bulletproof. So, ideally, what we're looking at here is this bolts on to that, and this is your caliper bracket. So first, I'm going to take all this off, which is going to require me to take those two screws out, take these two pins out, and all of this will come off of this plate. So what that leaves us with is this. I'm covering up a little boo-boo there. Sorry about that. So this fits on like so. Bolts line up perfectly. And we can literally just bolt this thing on, which is like amazing because our front brake installation was days worth of grinding and cutting and figuring and thinking. And this doesn't require any of that.
It doesn't require any thinking?
No thinking. Just mindless bolting together.
So could you close your eyes and do it?
I think so. Let me try. Yeah, I mean, it's going.
And he's not faking. I mean, I see both eyes are closed.
Yeah, I mean, this goes over here.
Very nice, very nice. Impressive.
Should I do the rest of this video with my eyes closed?
Yes, you should.
Okay. The Wilwood kit, the only thing that it didn't come with were these bolts. So I'm putting just, 1 inch long grade 8 bolts, 3/8 diameter. It said to reuse your original ones, but this car had some like Allen bolts that were like this long. I'm not a fan of Allen head bolts. So we can put our axle back in now that that's bolted on. Axle goes in. Like that. Now you want to go ahead and put the C-clip in because this is not the actual offset of the axle right now. Right now the axle's pushed in because it doesn't have its C-clip in the bar. When it has the C-clip in the bar, it's actually sitting out probably, I don't know, an 1/8 inch. So before we start putting this back together, we need to put the C-clip in and the bar back in. So let's put this rear end back together. We're going to do that by sliding this C-clip. You can use something with a magnet. That would be handy, but if you are careful, you can put it in there by hand. And as soon as that slides in, then you can push out on the axle and it holds itself. We'll rotate this around. Other way. That. Yep. This goes in like so. And this goes back in. And then we can just tighten that up and we're back together. All right, there's two different ways you can do this. You can put the ring on the axle flange first and then put the rotor on there, or you can set this inside the rotor. It's kind of up to you. Either way, the main idea here, wow, I got it first try. I never get that because anytime I've test fitted it, it lands on one of the other bolt patterns. So the main thing is that this sits flush. It's kind of hard to get it to fit in there like this. Let's try taking this off, and it'll never come off. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Let's try it like this. See if that treats us any better. Well, I bet you I'm not going to get the right bolt pattern. Twice in a row. Man, I'm an expert. Okay. Now it's time to put the caliper on. And all this seems so easy because of the struggles of our front brake situation. But that's a good thing. We need a little easy project here. So this is going to bolt on. 2 bolts. The bolts are supplied with the Wilwood kit. Washers. And the kit, the bolt kit comes with shims. And the reason why those shims are important are for spacing, because they want your spacing here and there to be exactly the same. And that's just mainly so that the pads fit right and that the pads don't wear on one side more than the other. That one slides in pretty good. And so does that one. Sweet. So there's that. It's got a little spring clip thing that holds the pads in. But that's it. Tighten. Run our brake hose, which has this 90-degree fitting on it. That goes into the back of the caliper. This goes onto that. And we'll be done. That is easy. All right. I think we're ready for bleeding brakes. All the hoses, all the lines, everything's tight. Now it's time to fill up the master cylinder and see, number one, if we have any leaks. Are you confident?
Sure. Yeah, I'm confident.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm confident.
Okay. Well, hopefully we don't have any leaks. Then the next thing is just bleeding the brakes, which you know what to do with that. I know what to do with that. 10 and 2? Is that how you're going to drive it?
Yeah.
I can't believe how good you fit in this thing.
Yeah. And
I mean, you literally, pretty much reach the pedals.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty comfortable I was about to say handlebar. Steering wheel arrangement. You can reach the shifter. Oops.
What did you do? About to drive off. You better hurry.
All right, it's the moment of truth. We got fluid in the master cylinder. All the fittings, all the lines are tight. Let's see if we got a brake pedal. It's going to take a little bit to get it pumped up. And I'm going slow and easy. But I can already feel a difference in the pedal. It's still going to the very end, and I'm letting it go all the way out, all the way in, nice and slow, so we're not just pumping a bunch of, oh no. We have a leak. Let's tighten this thing up, or see if it's loose, first of all. Yep, it was loose. Huh. I didn't think to tighten that. Give it another one of those. Now, see if we got any other leaks. Well, I found another leak, but this one was just totally forgot to tighten this fitting. Goes right here. We'll tighten that up. Hopefully we'll be sealed up. Yeah, we still got a lot of air in the lines. Pump it back up.
Holding. It's like really stiff. It's not
Getting stiff. Good. Ooh. Still got air. Pump it up again. You're holding the brakes?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Ooh. Okay, pump it up.
Daddy.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of squirting.
Yeah. Pump it up. We want the squirties to be gone.
Okay, holding.
Ooh. Goodness.
Hey.
Well, pump it back up. Come on.
Ow. Squirty?
Pretty squirty. All right, so we're completely done back here. We're ready to put the cover back on it, fill it up with some rear end oil, and be ready, I think, to set this thing back on its wheels. All right, guys, that was a big project. Putting brakes on this Henry J had lots of obstacles. The Wilwood kit worked perfectly back here on the 12-bolt rear end. That was a bolt-on situation, but the front had its own set of challenges. But I've got brakes on this car, which is a huge step toward being able to drive this thing again. Hopefully it won't be too long until you get to see another update on this car. It's been a fun project so far. Stay tuned for more.